Hi, and welcome to Conversations here on NTA Network, where we talk about everything under the sun. We have a full house. I'm going to leave everyone to introduce themselves today.
Hello, my name is Maimuna Omi Abdullah, aka Coach Diddy.
Okay.
Kevin Fineface, security and energy consultant and a public good advocate.
Joy Banachi, it's good to be here.
Awesome.
Football analyst.
Football analyst, which is far from what we're going to be talking about today. So in a previous episode where Divan was here, Extramarital Affairs took the hot seat, and I watched it. It was a feisty program, even for me watching from the other side, and there were so many opinions on the topic. And for those of you that missed out on that particular episode, we have some snippets for you to see. We'll be right back.
The biggest cheating now is pornography. Because why do I say that? A married man locks his phone, the married woman locks his phone. You're supposed to be at home interacting. But if you realize now, if you check from all the statistics, most of the time they're on the phone. And what is there? People are sending nude pictures. People are turned on by nude pictures. So for me, that's infidelity.
It could be that men who cheat do so because they're not able to get the kind of satisfaction they're looking for in the bedroom. There's that line of thinking. Or even the women who cheat, the men, women, whoever is cheating in the marriage, it could be that it's because something is not going right in the bedroom.
There are men who cheat because their wives are not tall enough, short enough, dark enough, beautiful enough. Just like there are women who cheat because their husbands are not there enough, or they don't say nice things enough. So it's a choice. You could tell this person, okay, please, I need you to do this. I want more of this. So you do have a choice. If every person in a marriage says, simply because there are some things you are not getting, you will cheat, there will be no marriage at all.
You can't get everything from somebody.
Yeah.
So
True.
you have to make up your mind that this decision I'm taking, and I'll have to keep to it.
30
Honey,
seconds.
I love you.
30
And I'm
seconds.
gonna
Are
stay
you
by
advocating premarital sex?
No,
You need to make this clear.
I'm not advocating premarital sex.
So how do you get to know that complementarity
It's easy.
and before
there
marriage?
are tests that can be done biologically. You can know if the sperm is okay, if the ovaries and everything
That's
is
only
okay.
for fertility.
No, that's one.
Pregnancy.
Two, in terms of virility, in terms of ability to be able to satisfy, you actually know who you are. You can tell if this person can meet up with your needs. You don't need to actually have sex before.
I hear most men say, oh, she was so beautiful when I met her. Okay, now she's too big. Now she doesn't take care of herself. The person outside looks really nice, looks really sexy. That's the biggest problem we're having now. Some women say, oh my God, when I met him, he was so slim. Now he has a pot belly. I can't even see the stuff. So you see, there's so many things that's going on. So let's forget about if the person's shape has changed. I don't see how the bedroom or the bedroom will not change. So now I always tell people, stop looking at the physical. Stop looking at the physical. Love your spouse the way your spouse should be.
Another person here who is saying, my opinion on the issues of cheating is that federal government Nigeria should, as a matter of urgency, ban importation of sex toys so as to reduce cheating.
Awesome. So snippets from the last episode where we were talking about extramarital affairs, and the producers say, you know what, this is something that is real and we need to talk about it again and again and again. I like the fact that you talked about, the physical things will change in the bedroom as someone ages, but I don't know, men tend to be visual beings. You can't keep that size 10 figure for the rest of your life. So do you really think that men can accept a woman as she changes? Some men do, but I think it's very rare for a man to accept his woman as she changes.
Okay, the question is to me. Okay. You said you're talking about the man
we're going to talk about the women and the men. I just think that the physical thing is killing us, because I think it's more of the inside. You know, knowing your woman, loving her the way she is, because whether we like it or not, that figure will change.
It will.
You understand? So, and now is that you meet a man, maybe when you got married to the man, he didn't have money, now he's boxed up, so he drinks more, he hangs out more, and when they do this, they tend to drink. So, whether you like it or not,
Some tend to drink.
well, I think 80% of the men
Sure.
drink. Yeah. That's the honest truth. Maybe they pretend in church that they're not drinking, excluding you. I don't know. If you don't drink, maybe there are other things that come with adding weight, because most of the time, no exercise and all that. And that's why I always say that if you think your spouse is getting out of shape, I think you should work out together, because when you work out together, you talk together, you gist together, because they're always busy, no time for each other. So it's always good for them to just do things they normally don't do.
It's not a bad idea. Kevin, I know you're processing everything. So
Yeah, the question you asked is something that we need to really go back to the basics. How do we get involved in relationships? I think a lot of the time we only became experiential people because we truly did not know why we're getting into the relationship. We got attracted to this person either by the fingers or some attribute or the intellectual capacity. They get it down there, we truly do not understand what is actually happening in the course of transitions. So you are with this person. How often do you communicate? How best do you put out your cards on the table to know that growth, progress is growth based, and this is what happens, and this is how things changes. A lot of the time, the excuses that are given are not necessarily excuses, but the character flaws of the individuals. Because that she became fat, that was why I don't like her anymore. It's actually a character flaw that you actually use as an excuse to carry out your deep-seated intention.
So what you're saying is that he might be saying that, but he really doesn't mean that. It's something else.
It might be saying, because in some cases, those they go out to shit with are like those that are actually running away from at home. So knowing self is key. It doesn't mean that all of us are saints. No. It is just that we need to be more deliberate, conscious, and take ownership of our flaws and present them on the table. It's very possible for you to be with a partner and never shit. It's very possible. If both of you are accountable and you understand that both became naked and unashamed, it means that there's no secrecy here, right? The phone should not be one privacy.
I like the way you should
there's no secrecy there. Because that's one variable. For anything we do in the secret, it will oftentimes result to things that we don't really bargain for. Take it or leave it. No matter how righteous you tend to present yourself to be, once you start doing things in the secret, it goes off, the track. So that's actually the problem. Once you identify those things, it's very easy to actually love your partner, even if they get too fat. Because the person you're loving is not the physique, it's a soul you're falling in love with. And by the way, love is a one-way street. If you come to understand it from that capacity, that is a one-way street, you have to be matured enough to be able to love someone, to understand that it's not the things, but it's how best you're able to put out yourself to give to this person sacrificially, not necessarily expecting a reciprocity, but that the individual also receive that and appreciate you for who you are, in order to be able to become what you want to become for yourselves.
Yeah. Well, we're going to focus more on the effect on children. It happens in homes, and people focus on the man and wife, the husband and the wife, and the kids don't really have a say in the matter. It's happened. Nobody's asking them for their opinion, how they feel. You are the specialist when it comes to that. I don't know if you've handled topics or issues like that where kids are clearly, emotionally drained or they feel threatened by what's happened in the home, and how, we can help children in those situations.
Well, it's something that does happen. Because, like you said, this is when we live in a community, in a society, and these are realities of societies. And as much as we pretend, because most times parents pretend things are okay because they don't want the kids to worry, but they see through it because there's usually tension in the home. And then sometimes there's fights, and it affects the children negatively. most children find it hard because the truth is we don't discuss things like this outside. You don't even discuss it within the home.
Yeah.
There is so much stigma, there is so much shame, there is so much fear attached to it, especially with the parents, between the parents and the kids. How do you confront your parents and say, I found this out or something? And
most of them find these things out.
They do
They can
find
hear
it out.
daddy, in the other room talking to someone. They can see that mommy is a bit too interested in this particular man from church. Joy, you know what I'm talking about. It's the typical growing up phase. I think every child may have noticed one or two things like that.
Something happened in church 2 Sundays ago.
Oh, see?
And I had a friend who passed like a year ago, and she had a daughter. And the daughter still comes to church. The daddy drops because I think the daddy is a Catholic.
Okay.
The dad is a Catholic, and the girl comes to church. And I saw her. I said, "Hello, beautiful. How are you doing? How is school and all that?" And she was chitty-chatting with me. And she said, "Big mommy, guess what happened in school? People think that I've gone crazy." And I said, "Why?" She said they had a talk in school. It was a talk, and they were talking about real life issues, and she just brought this topic up, and she said the biggest problem that people are having is sexual issues. And they looked at her and said she was 12. Why would she do that? And when she started talking, parents were murmuring and all that, and she says, "Big mommy, am I okay?"
Oh, wow.
It triggered me because I knew, because her mom was gone, there's certain things she would discuss with her mom. You can't discuss with your dad.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart, because if not that I approached her, she would just be living in that, people running you down, trying to run away from the main issue. People don't talk about these things. And I think parents, aunties, uncles should talk about these things, because guess what? It's affecting the children, whether we like it or not. It's very sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about the effect that it has on children when it comes to extramarital affairs, kids are like sponges. 99% of the times we oftentimes think that they don't get to understand the things that are going around us. But you see, they are sieving. They're sieving. They see the quarrels, they see the things you do. A lot of the time, people oftentimes think that they are invisible because of the things they do in secret. But they are not. We are not invisible. When you're cheating, your kids get to know you're cheating. They might not have the confidence in as much as you have not created an opportunity for that conversational relationship. There has to be what I refer to a democratized relationship at home. Giving every individual.
Well, how many Nigerian homes are democratized?
No, but we're saying we need to. We're giving every individual in the home to be able to have a say, right? Once you do that, it's easy for my kids to ask me questions when I'm talking to someone on the phone. So that's what I do. Very easy. It's easy for them to ask me questions when I say hello to someone or relate to someone. They ask me, who was that person?
who are you talking
What's the
about?
relationship with that individual?
Okay.
It's very easy for them, because that's how I built them to relate with me. I needed to be accountable to them, because if I need to be able to be a good parent and ask them questions on the things they're doing, then I need to be accountable to them.
Absolutely.
And that has worked for me. It has also put me in check. Even when those butterflies and those other things are flying around, you want to be very careful how you be able to relate. So extramarital affairs have its own negative effects on the kids, no matter how we tend to pretend about it. One of the best that I think is also possible to do that is to manage that, is that you confess to the kids the wrongs you have done and what it is you're doing to help you out of the situation, if you're truly sincere about it. Then, because when you don't point out the wrong, they assume it's right.
Yes.
And they will live
Follow
with
suit.
it. They will carry it out.
Yeah.
No,
They will
because Joy
play
is
it
laughing,
out.
and I'm wondering, do you disagree with confessing to your children?
Depends.
I don't disagree. But unfortunately, we're in a society where if you have to ask your parents stuff, is being conceived as being rude. And look, abroad, it's done. It's a way of life.
Yes, it is.
But in Nigeria, you see, sometimes you have to look at the society that you're formed in. Unfortunately for us is that, how can I look at my father and say, where are you coming from? How do I look at my father and say, who are you talking to on the phone? Maybe the new generation kids can do it.
I was going to get to
Yeah, I think the new generation kids can do it because
Gen Z will ask you.
Yeah.
that's
They will ask
it.
you.
So that's it. But I know that I couldn't and I wouldn't. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
And why do I say that? Growing up, I didn't think my parents had issues because it was better then. They used to fight in the bedroom.
Yeah, they shielded the kids away from it.
So when they come out, you think everything is okay. But unfortunately for us now, the younger ones, I don't know what went wrong. They fight because there was a friend of mine, and it was a guy, and he says, but my dad was beating my mom all through his years in the house, and she didn't die. So he had that mentality. He's always beating his wife. So you see, this is what I say, that it's what you learn. That is what you give out. Yeah. So the thing now is that because their parents had extramarital issues, they went into the marriage having that same extramarital issues, and the wives did not question them. So I think the society has gone gagas.
You see, when we talk about extramarital affairs, I think let's be specific. There's a difference between when there's an affair or two. In this age of technology, when we have cyber infidelity.
Seriously, could you throw light on that? Because I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Oh, there's something called cyber infidelity.
Yeah.
It is an everyday occurrence because technology has made it easy to cheat.
True. So you're talking about, swiping and looking at pictures of
sex
women.
things and all that.
Sex toys.
Not just
No,
sex
sex
toys.
things.
Having conversation. Baby,
Sex
good
things.
morning.
Yeah.
Every day.
Sending
Yes.
sex
Having
messages.
conversations with
Right.
15,
Oh,
20
right,
women
right.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Professing love to 10, 15 women. Having affairs with 10. I'm serious about this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pornography, we don't talk about this, but sexual addiction is a mental health illness.
Yeah.
Because we expect, in a relationship of a marriage of 10, 15, 20, 30 years, maybe once in a while you will stray, Yeah, there'll be a connection with this other person who is not your spouse. You expect that from an ordinary man. But from a less than ordinary man or woman, sorry. But for a less than ordinary man or woman, we talk about sexual compulsive behavior, hypersexuality, and that's basically sex addiction. And technology has made it so easy. So we're talking about kids who see this every day.
Okay.
Every day.
All right. You're watching Conversations here on NTA Network. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
Women are so compassionate and they have this sense of feelings that whatever you do, when you come back to them and then you lobby them, you pet them, buy them things, they tend to forgive easily. While the men have an heart of an adamant heart. He tend to keep things to himself, and then whoever that keep things to himself has this spirit of unforgiveness, and then it take him time before he forgives.
Well, to me, it should be the wife, because at times there's an issues that may happen in between that make something like that happen in between them. But most time, women don't forgive easily because they always keep things in mind.
Once it has to do with forgiveness, it has to do with the bond you have with the person. You understand? I can be with you in a relationship of being sick. So I might not take anything you do. Even before you commit that magnitude of crime, you understand, I can even deal with you for just a little thing that doesn't make any sense. So when it comes to infidelity, it's height of it, trust me, it is. But we have seen in Nigerian context, generally now, you can confirm that women forgive more on infidelity.
I see that most men they are unfaithful. So I expect them, if there is challenge in home, they should be the one to calm down and forgive and let the marriage work.
Mostly it's the wife, and because the women tends to be patient in marriage than men, because men, we have this character of jealousy. We are very jealous type. We is in us, so we don't want a situation whereby we see our wife cheating or having extramarital affairs outside, and then in another day we now see the guy outside again. There is a burning this sensation in our heart that it's very, very difficult for us to forgive. So sometimes, mostly, it's the women that forgive. And some of the reasons that women forgive is that they tend to look about the circumstances within, especially their children. Because they say, if I leave the marriage, what will happen to my children? Would another person come and raise my children up?
Yeah, I think in most cases, the wife, women have this tendencies of forgiving and forgetting more easily compared to men. I am speaking from my experience of engagements in resolutions, crisis resolution arising out of broken homes. And you find out that in most cases, women tend to forgive their spouses easily in terms of infidelity in marriage than you have men forgiving.
There you have it, people's opinions on extramarital affairs. Who is more willing to forgive? To be honest, in my opinion, I haven't seen a man forgive his wife. The only person I've seen forgive his wife in a case like this is Will Smith. I don't think I've seen any man.
And he's not African.
He's not African.
Oh, he's an African.
Is he African?
It's there.
Not
It's
African.
doable even
No,
in
but
Nigeria.
there's some, you see, most of the time that the men tend to forgive, that means the woman is paying the bills.
Yes,
Well, not most of the times.
most of the time.
Joy, I haven't seen a man forgive.
I'm
No,
telling
you haven't seen doesn't mean
No,
it
you
doesn't
see,
exist.
I don't think
no, you see
it
the
does.
thing. No, the thing
It
here.
does.
No, the thing here about forgiving. Most of the time, the women tend to forgive. Why? Because they're not thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their kids.
children's stability of the
So
home.
it's the stability of the
It's actually a
kids.
societal
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
It
yes,
was a learned
it's
behavior
true.
from
Yes,
your parents.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why.
because
That's
our mothers took all this shit and remained.
That's
so,
it.
Yeah,
So
so
you know.
the
you don't
thing
know
is
any
that if you
different,
go
really.
home, if you go home now, and most of the time, if you have this kind of issue and you want to settle it when you go home, the mother will be looking at you and saying, "You want to leave your home
Because of
another person.
because of another person
to
come
move
on,
in.
to come and move in."
After all these
So,
years.
see,
All you've built.
let me tell you,
with him.
just be patient, stay there,
all of them
because of your kids. And you see, and most of the time, it's look, we've seen it that if you leave your kids for some other woman to come and take care of, I don't want to continue. It's sad, but it's reality. So that's why most of the time, because in Nigerian context, it's okay for a man to cheat, but it's not okay for a woman to cheat. So that's why even most of the time, the women will not get to the point that they are being caught
That
So
they-
they
for
are
their
they're
kids.
smarter, right?
And I think
Yes,
women,
they act
women
like they-
have
they
been
act like the
conditioned.
cats.
You know, we've
Well,
been
I don't know
conditioned
about
to
that.
accept it. We've been conditioned to
Conditioned to
believe that
accept it.
That's it.
it's a normal
Yeah.
thing. They are licensed to cheat, and we've been
Yeah.
conditioned to blame ourselves.
Yes,
When a man cheats, you blame yourself for it.
Yes.
You did something wrong.
Yes.
You're not doing something right.
true.
And then you keep feeling there's something I need to do because it's my fault. And I think that's what we need to unlearn. It's not your fault.
I agree with you 100%, but there's another factor we also need to consider, which is that why do we have to be so focus on leaving the relationship when there is an error? How do we fix it? How do we ensure that this thing don't get to happen again? You know, you see, having that winning mentality will truly help society a lot. There's nothing that is sacrosanct as relates to living, right? Because someone cheats does not necessarily mean that everything must end from that day. If from the beginning, both of you, I mean, marriage is a covenant relationship.
Yeah.
It was agreed that these are the no-go areas. If there's a breach of it, how do we address? What are the remote causes? What are the immediate causes? Let's try as much as possible to first resolve that issue first. Even if we agree to disagree and say we're going to part ways, it's important that you have been able to understand the why, So when you're disintegrating, you don't get to repeat the same cycle again in the next relationship. So a lot of the time we see people get into a new relationship with those baggages of previous unsolved issues. So we have to address it. I believe in the winning factor. Frankly speaking, might sound like looking so hard, but I believe in the winning factor. There's no need to be able to say because she cheated, it ends the relationship. Of course, when a woman cheats, it ruffles on the man because the man is a crown on the woman's head. So once she goes to cheat, it means that it actually rubs off that crown completely on the mud. Now it takes away so many things. Now, of course, the woman, her pride is a man. That's why they say when a woman loves a man, she hides it from her friend. When a man loves a woman, she becomes, his billboard. It displays everywhere because there's a confidence a man displays that this is my wife in the public, and now if everybody gets to have access, to her with him, it takes away that pride. It's an innate, societal learned innate behavior. It's not something that I can solve. You see that even in animal kingdom. You see that with the cock and the hens. The cock will always fight. Any other cock within an environment. You see the lions. There's always one pride amongst the other lionesses. So it's not something that is somehow that we can solve now.
I want to chip something. I want to chip something
related to the animal kingdom.
Not really. It's not really no. Definitely, we're humans. So I'm going to stick with humans.
Okay.
The sad part now is that most of the time they say the men cheat, the men cheat, the men cheat. Fine. But you see, for me, the main issue that I'm having now is that most of the kids for these supposed husbands are not theirs.
So women are cheating more.
So you can see that is for me the biggest nemesis we have to even fight, because nothing is as sad as when a child, because most kids I have seen now are having mental issues. Why? Because they now found out that the supposed fathers is not their father. And that is killing society right now. So when people say, oh, men cheat more than women, I laugh.
You're just saying we're better at it.
We're better at it because most of the time now is because when the kids are sick, or most of the time you have to travel and you start, then when the DNA test starts. That is, I don't know the statistics, you should check it.
It's more rampant anyway.
It's crazy.
It's always been there.
Yeah, it's always been there, and right now it's in the open. That for me basically is my own problem. We have to get that thing sorted, because if we have a society where we have kids having mental issues, then we're in trouble.
But we should not forget
in that kind of situation, though, if you find out that the child isn't mine, would you tell the child?
Honestly, that's a dicey.
Situationally.
It's a really dicey.
It depends on.
In the case where they need to travel, obviously the child. But I don't know.
Of course, but
in the interest of the child's mental health, does the child really need to know?
Yeah, but when do we get to
time
confront the realities we're faced with? You see, a lot of the time, what happens to us in relation to the fact that we tend to want to ignore the hurt today and live with the pain tomorrow. We should endure the hurt. Then we can avoid the pain. When things like that happens, it's important we sit the kids down and say, see, this is what is going on. I don't know where I've gone wrong. If you know where you've gone wrong, state where you've gone wrong. Let's own our shit before our kids.
I'm sorry,
it will help them. Yes, I failed in this area. I must have. Whenever anything go wrong,
we're talking about one affair or two. We're not talking about.
There's no way you can polish it out to look good.
No, it won't look good.
I won't lie to you.
It won't look good.
If it happens to me, because of my child's mental state, I'm being honest, I won't tell the child.
You'll take it to the grave?
I'll take it to the grave.
Then our child continue to suffer. Then you'll not start having generational issues that we can't even solve.
Well, if she takes it to the grave, then the child doesn't know.
No, the child will know.
How?
No truth is hidden forever.
That some truths are hidden.
Leave matter.
Some are better left.
Yes.
You know
some
what?
are better left the way it is.
One day there will be an issue that results to blood, and the whole thing begin to come up to the fore. Why do you have to suffer society because of your own selfish interest? That's wicked.
No, it's for the child's mental state. Do you know what kids who are, do you know what mothers who are single mothers go through because they're single mothers? They have fathers, but the fathers are not
responsible for fathers.
No, not really, because stuff happens.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter what happens,
But no,
no
you
father
see,
should
She's talking about
abandon.
the
No,
stigma. The stigma
I'm
that single
talking.
mothers
I'm talking.
face.
Yeah. So you see, for me now, because we're talking about the children, today it's particularly the children. Why are we having so many issues? And you see, the thing, kids will always be kids. You're a bastard. You don't have a father. When when they say parents should come visiting day, it's always your mother. Where is your father? Even
And
the
those
ones
things
who
are
even have
hurtful.
fathers who don't even come, these kids are look, kids will always be kids. So you have to think about, look, 80% of kids now are having mental issues. Take it or leave it, and that's why the society is the way it is.
But
So
in
let's
case
find
of
out why.
single parents,
Yeah.
there are different single parents.
Yeah.
Those who made a choice to become a single mother.
I agree.
You
Yes.
made a choice.
Yes.
Baby
You
mother.
decided to become
Yeah.
a baby mama.
Yeah.
So it's on you.
Yeah.
When you get divorced or you become a widow, it's a different matter. But if you decide I'm going to have a baby for this man, and you know this man is already married and he's not going to marry you, you took that
No, that's
decision.
not what I mean.
Okay.
That's why I said stuff happens.
Okay.
You get pregnant.
But still, but you got pregnant and you had the child.
Excuse me. Abortion is it legal?
It's illegal.
You see,
But you have to hold
abortion,
yourself responsible as well.
abortion is illegal. How do we get people to be more responsible in their living? You're getting into a relationship. You should know the outcome of this relationship. It's not something like, see, it's not something you feel that, okay, it's all about pleasure. There's always an outcome. There's going to be a result. How mentally prepared are you? If you're not mentally prepared for it, then you need to put those measures that will prevent the things that you don't want to see happen. Now, by accident, they said the things happen. Not accident. There's no accident, oh. It is basically a deliberate action taking place, but ignored by the parties
Kevin,
involved.
So
my
easy to
tribe, for
say.
instance,
Yes.
if the
Where
husband
you-
has
where
a
you
child
from?
out, I'm Yoruba.
Okay. All right.
If my husband has a child outside,
True.
his family, my family, will tell me to accept that
Yes.
child into the family.
So society.
Because he's part of the bloodline.
Yes.
He's my husband's
Beautiful.
son. You know, but it's very unfair on me. It's unfair on my children. These are
If
situations
he didn't
that
tell
happen
you,
everywhere.
if he didn't tell you
yes.
from the beginning that he has
They
one,
never tell at the beginning.
now maybe he doesn't want to lose you as far as he didn't tell you, but in the course of it, if he tells you, I mean, if you really love him, then you have to look at the child. It's not, that child is not an illegitimate child, right? That child came in, and it's by virtue of what has happened between him and the other
What is
person.
an illegitimate child?
I said,
It
that
is.
child is- I say
It's
it's
an
not.
illegitimate child.
No, it's not an illegitimate
It
child.
is.
Right,
You
it's
see what I mean?
It
That's where
is.
In English,
tribe
it's
and
It
culture.
is.
There's
That's
no
where
That's
tribe
it.
and culture
Marriage.
come into
There's
play.
no marriage.
There is no child.
And guess what
There are
happens?
illegitimate
Most of
parents.
the no,
Tribe
most,
and
most
culture
There are
of the
illegitimate
play.
parents.
no, most of the time, that's what we're saying. It's our society.
Exactly.
Very
That's, it's
legitimate
different.
parents. No
So that's the
legitimate
thing.
children.
You see, most of the
No,
time,
no.
do you know when wives know? When the man dies.
Yes.
In some cases, yes.
See, in Nigeria, there's too much drama when
And there
the
are
man
women also
dies.
who have kids
Yeah, and it's
and
true.
don't tell their husbands outside of the marriage that they have these kids. Sometimes they pretend to be their little
their cousins,
their
yeah.
little cousins
Yeah, it
or
does happen.
their younger
So
sisters.
you
all of
see,
those things.
please, don't say that. Look,
No, I think one of
when
the
you are
things I
not
believe-
married, when you are not
Illegitimate child.
married,
That's what it's called in
No,
English.
you're no.
Except there's another word
I
for it
think,
in English.
I think,
Okay.
I think
I
the
don't-
English
I
one
don't
we're trying
accept
to
it.
use as illegitimate child
No,
is actually
let's use
misused.
Nigerian English.
There are no illegitimate children.
If there
There
is
are
no marriage
illegitimate
and
parents.
you are born
If there
out
is
of wedlock,
no
it's called
marriage.
illegitimate.
No, there are no
They're
illegitimate children.
illegitimate parents.
You know the sad
Yeah,
part.
illegitimate
You see,
parents.
the sad part now is if you have girls.
A child does not have
No,
solution.
if you have girls, and the lady outside brings in a boy, when they want to share the inheritance, who do they give?
Cultural
So-
differences.
so
They will
you
say-
see,
some
this
culture will
is
tell you
the
that
problem.
the boy is not a no. There are kings in this country that were born outside of marriages. Kings in this
Really?
country, yes.
Which country?
In this country,
Please,
in
where
Nigeria.
are they? Maybe it's where you
In
from.
Nigeria.
yeah,
no,
maybe it's
not
where
in
you
Nigeria.
for us
In the
in-
north, in the south, in the east, in the
Which
west.
north? Which north?
Some of them have even been,
No,
Which north?
They hide under different. In the north, they hide under the guise of,
No.
the concubines.
No,
in
the difference.
in
No,
Iran.
the difference with
So
the
we
north.
should-
The difference with the north is that you're entitled to marry
You're entitled to
as
marry.
many. The problem
Even
now,
in the east, you're
no,
entitled to marry
no.
more.
The problem,
In the south, you're entitled to
the
marry
problem
more.
I have with
In the
where
west, you're
we're
entitled to marry
from,
more.
the problem I have
Yeah,
with
Joel.
where we're from
Yeah.
is that you say you're Christians and you have kids all over the place. You are meant to be married to one man, one wife.
By your Christian injunction, but not by the traditional practices of the people of those
What
regions.
practice? Now then we
practice?
shouldn't go to church to get married.
Well,
from our cultural,
we
from
are
our
derailing from
cultural,
the matter.
from
We
our
should
cultural,
think about the
From our
children.
cultural, inclination, the cultures allow for more than one wife.
Are we talking about culture here?
Every culture you think about in Nigeria, every
Accepts
culture,
that.
yes, accepts that.
I don't agree.
Now, by religious inclination, some religion endorses more than one, but some don't. Even the ones who don't even have the understanding.
So will you agree
in the
with me that
Christian
Nigerian
Bible,
men tilt this culture?
Yes,
tradition thing?
polygamy.
When it suits them,
Yes.
people,
suits them,
people,
depending
But
on
they
what
don't
what
think.
we're
But they
talking
don't think.
about.
They don't think of the effects this thing have on the kids. That's why we're having a problem now. The kids have gone wacko because you're telling them this. And you're doing totally opposite thing.
Conflict of interest.
So who do you blame about society? It's the parents.
Yeah. So we can't blame the children. Really.
No, we
No,
can't.
we're not blaming. No, we can't blame
It's the
kids.
upbringing and what they've been
Yeah.
exposed to.
Yeah.
If
Family
a
is the
woman
core
is on
of
the
every
outside
society.
and she says so many negative things about
Yes.
the father or the wife
Yeah.
of the the man. Of course, the child will have that preconceived notion
True.
about that woman.
Yeah.
She's going to be wicked no matter what
Yes.
happens anyway.
Yeah, that's the
Agree.
truth.
She will be wicked.
And
Yeah,
you know
that's
the thing
true.
about it is a circle.
It
When
goes.
children who go through this
That's-
trauma, they end up becoming exactly like their fathers.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate part of
Or
it.
their mothers.
Or their mothers.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I know you're very
We need to
particular
address-
about
That's why
it.
we're having this conversation because
Yeah.
we need to address these things
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
very-
happening and it's becoming like a cycle
It's
over
sad.
and over
When
again.
you were
It's
saying something
terrible.
about extramarital affairs, you see, there's a study that says that it takes between 18 to 22 to 24 months to heal from pain.
Okay, pain, yeah.
Pain of
Yeah.
infidelity in a marriage.
Yeah.
18 to 24 months. One
To
case
get over it?
to get over it. The pain.
Do they think? Do
No,
people
no,
get
no
over
counseling.
it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't get over it, but you find healing and find a place like a place of peace.
Accept it.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
it takes 18 to 24 months. One case of
But
infidelity.
doesn't it 18 to 24 months? Doesn't it make you go crazy?
Well, during that period, that's why there are different stages. The first stage of, intrusive thoughts, inquiry, you keep asking what happened, why did,
What have I
and
done?
then
What have I
later
done?
acceptance, and then, but it takes counseling. Now, that is the core of the matter. How many men go for counseling because they cheated?
Because
Some do.
no, there's
Some
How
do.
many?
you see in Nigeria, it's crazy people that go for counseling.
Yes.
If you tell them go see a shrink, they'll tell you a shrink for what? It's normal day. You see this thing about kids, it saddens my heart because you have sisters sleeping with sisters' husbands and having kids. So excuse me, how do the men think?
And the women.
And the women, how do they think?
Those who are
You see,
involved.
It's unfair.
I want parents to just do a double check and think of the kids, not about pleasure. Because you see, the sad thing about pleasure is sweet. But have you thought of the effects
The consequences.
and the consequences of what this pleasure? Because kids are going
Pleasure.
through stuff. They don't tell their parents, but they tell aunties and they tell their teachers. That is why we're where we are right now. And if we don't check it, it's going to really get bad.
Pleasure comes from the place of pain, which we don't truly understand until we get to experience it. Kids are kids. Doesn't mean that they don't reason. We need to be more intentional in how we relate to these kids to understand that we should not allow the stupidity of adults to affect the well-being of our kids. No matter what it is you do, no matter how you want to get mad, never allow your excesses to rub off on your kids. What we see oftentimes happen is that, especially when there's extramarital affairs, we now start seeing parents trying to lock the heads of the kids against
Yes.
the other opposite partner.
Yes.
And in some cases, they bring out all the messages, they be able to get from the other phone to say, look at what your dad or your mom have been doing. And in other cases, I've also seen where the other parents telling the kids, you end up like your mother if you're not careful. What that does is that it psychologically affects these kids, and they don't see any good that will come out from them, so they become renegades to the society.
So are you saying we should, if the father is a bad, quote, bad father, we should shield the child from that information?
That is why advanced societies.
And you know what happens when you shield the child from...
But you see,
Let her finish.
Okay.
When you shield the child from all this information, when the child becomes 18, 21, it's like, I want to go and look for my dad. I want to go and have
That's
a
true.
relationship.
And I
And
was
it's very
wondering that-
painful for the mother, especially when, she's been through so much.
But
She's gone through
society,
so much.
society is not
And
going to let the
gets up and
child.
is like, I want to look for my father.
But
I
it's
want to
true.
look for my
Because
dad."
anything
you
wrong
did
with
not
it. What's
allow
wrong with
that
that?
child to
Yeah.
experience the process that would have resulted to the healing. You don't shield the child completely without giving that child the opportunity to think in order to reason appropriately. What we always do is that your father is a bad person. He has been sleeping around, and if you keep going around, one day he will sleep with you. Seed of discord is sown. And this father is actually a good man, but had indiscretion as relate to his covenanted relationship with the mother. Does not make him a bad parent.
No, but look at what's happening now. The parents, the fathers, the mother doesn't even have to tell the kid what they are doing, because social media, they're there with their girlfriends and all the people that they are having all those. So this is another school of thought.
Yes,
The mother doesn't have to say anything. The man
child can
has
see it. The
said
child can see it.
everything.
It's plain
And
as
the
day.
kids, and now it's the 21st century. So all the kids, it's sad that your kids are in school and the next thing they open the social media handle and they're seeing their father
With side chicks, right?
with side chicks and they're fighting each other. This one is saying, this is my chick. The father is saying, that is my chick. See, so you see, everything has gone haywire.
And
Confrontation.
the thing is, just like she said, honestly, these days, because just like I told you, this cyber infidelity is so rife, it's so easy. You don't have to tell anybody anything. They
Yeah.
can see.
They can see and they can
feel
read.
it, They can read it.
So how do we stop it?
It's simple now, is it not?
Yeah, how do we
Check
stop
yourself.
it?
Check yourself.
Both partners.
That's it.
Yes.
They check themselves.
One of the ways I think that can be stopped, right?
Yeah.
Is being accountable to one another, naked and unashamed.
I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, because see, everybody wants to be able to keep something that they hold on to, and they use that as a dopamine to help them psychologically. But you see, you don't need to.
Yeah, true.
You don't need to. Frankly, you don't need to. I'm not a saint, but hey, from my experience and from the willingness to want to be able to be better, I think that's the best way we can go. Be naked and unashamed before one another. Put your things on the table,
Kevin,
and let there
naked
be
and
more.
unashamed,
Let there. Listen, no.
Let's
let there
live
be,
in a real world.
Let there
Let's
be.
see, let's
Let
just
there be
take
more
note of the fact that-
effective
Just be real with
communication.
you.
Yeah,
brother,
let's,
just be
and then
real
you see
with
the
you.
thing is,
No, I'm
that
real.
it's not
I'm
about
real.
being a
Talking
parent,
about, we have
Become
some
a parent
feedback.
and being a
Talking about
parent.
extramarital affairs, stuff happens according to Joy. Some try to outsmart God and get caught and don't want to abort the baby, and so that they don't offend God further. So they tend to keep it without.
Stuff
even
don't just
knowing.
happen. Stuff
Stuff
got
happens.
happened.
That's
No,
the bottom line.
it got happened. Stuff don't happen.
Well,
You said something, Kevin. You see, I think, like you said, it's about self-accountability first. Because
Self-accountability.
no other person can hold you accountable. When you become a parent, it's more than just you. And I think that's where we're
There's
getting
so
it
much
wrong.
Good point.
That's
It's
a good
much
point.
more than just you
Yes.
as a
Good
person.
point.
Because most people don't think of the consequences of their actions. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's just about the pleasure.
Yeah.
But when you are a parent, you are the role model of younger people. Your children look up to
They're
you.
watching you.
They're
Yes.
watching
Every
you.
move.
What
Yeah.
are you sending? What message are you sending?
sending.
And I think when we start to take responsibility for our actions,
Actions.
and inactions, as the case may be, I think perhaps the world will be a better place.
I agree with you.
I
You know,
agree.
it's
I
important we
agree
also
with you.
understand that as a parent, the outcome of your actions have a way to affect your
Everyone.
kids.
It
And
affects
so
everyone.
what you want to do is to try as much as possible to let your kids understand that those demons your parents couldn't defeat, you're fighting so hard to defeat them
defeat
now.
it.
So they don't get to
Yeah.
don't defeat those kind of demons again by themselves, but will have
Yeah.
new ones that they're going to face.
True.
But you see, demons always have a way to recycle themselves and coming back to us if you don't do it. So you have to be smarter.
Let me clearly say this, that cheating is part of being human. Recent research gave the main reason why people cheat. The reason is curiosity. People want to explore new frontiers. I'll leave you to talk about that. There are several reasons why, which you have talked about. Joy's points are valid. Women cheat more. So are we trying to explore new frontiers? Is that true?
Well, see, let's say you prepared a delicious meal.
I knew you were going to talk about food.
No,
I
of
knew it.
course.
Why do they
Yeah,
always relate to food?
I need to be able to relate it in a way that we can easily get it.
Okay,
You prepare
okay.
a delicious meal, then you only had a taste of it. By the next day, it's soured, right? You saw that it was getting to that sour. So what do? If you really know what you've actually invested in that, so one of the first you want to do, you find measures with which to remedy it. you find measures to remedy it. So if you're from the other side, you know what to do. I'll leave it at that. So the curiosity aspect of cheating, we're human beings, our eyes are gateways to our minds. See, there are 4 things that functions in every human being. There's a mind, there is emotion, there is ambition, and there is conscience. If we know how to utilize these 4, at the same time, they must work symbiotically. Your conscience is the only thing that speaks to the mind, to your ambition, and to your emotions. So if you listen attentively, you will know that once you see the girl outside there that looks beautiful, that catches your fancy, the first you want to do is that, wait a minute, there's someone at home. So in some cases, like myself, you won't believe it. I saw this babe. She looks so beautiful. And in fact, I've even looked at her. I made those kind of confessions. Doesn't mean that I actually want to do it. It is that I need to free my mind, because if I leave that thought there, it builds up. The next thing that will happen is that I want to find myself in that environment the next time again.
Yes.
And it's gradually begin to feed that deep-seated desire to want to satisfy it. Then guess what? Once your desire increases, opportunity comes your way. She will come your way one day and say hello to you. Like, her voice sounds so, melodic that you're like, oh my God, who is this babe? And the next thing, want to list on another thing before it's happening, a dino comes in.
I don't know about this curiosity.
Okay, you guys are really doing well in the family matters discussion. How can you manage an issue of cheating in marriage? Right now, I'm in pain because my wife is into it and I've been asked to play the fool. How do I solve this issue? I want to divorce and I want to go for another wife. That's from Danladi in Auchi.
Okay, can I answer
Yes,
that? Okay, simple. First, what is cheating? If both of you agreed from the beginning that there wasn't going to be any other person, and the person does that, that's cheating. If there was no agreement from the beginning and it happens, then you want to be able to take care of that. How much capacity do you have to contain the act that has been done psychologically? Yeah. Does it affect your mental state? If it affects your mental state, then it means that you need to separate to get yourself first, because without that you can't actually function well. If it doesn't affect psychologically, it's just that societally it's kind of rubs off on your ego, and you're like trying to want to impress people. Then there's no need impressing people when you know you still value the relationship. But if the individual is not giving room to change and is proving that what they did was right and blaming you, then it's the best time for the man to run for 40. Okay. Leave that home if you cannot drive her away and find yourself a new place. But don't run into a new relationship until you have first healed yourself to understand the why that happened first. It is then you can sit down, cross your leg, and get yourself a new babe.
Yeah. Because I think going straight into another relationship
No, that's a no.
Okay, this is the last question we'll take, and I'm going to throw it to Joy. So what if your spouse has a love child and you never knew and find out? What should you do as a mother? Emphasis on as a mother.
I'm going to be truthful. I'm very candid. I'll be pained. I'll be so pained. You see, that's the problem. You have to think about the child. You have to think about, you see, I might be pained, but I'll just have to live with it. Because what do you do about love child or love children? It wasn't their fault. It was the man. And that is why most women I know tend to take love children into their homes when they just get settled. Because if you don't do that, it's going to affect the children you have after you have the kids. So 80% of my friends that I know who have love children tend to bring the children in. And guess what? We never know that they love children until maybe when they're getting married. Then we tend to see two mothers. But like I always say, it's a difficult thing, but we just have to live with it and let it work.
Okay. I think there's a difference because love children. There's a difference between he had a child before the marriage and he had a child while you were married. I think there should be a distinction.
But I think the love children are the ones.
Well, I don't know love children.
Okay. All I know what they always say that most of the time, what I hear from that quote is they had the kids outside wedlock. And when they now get married, they tend to bring the kids into the home.
I think that's much easier, isn't it?
Yes, it's easier
because it's before the marriage.
No, it's before the marriage.
After the marriage.
That's where I think I have a problem.
So what do you
But
do?
most of the time, you see, I think from the question, there are two questions. They love children before and they love children after. So the after one is a no-no.
It's situational.
Okay.
For you, it's a no-no for
It's
you.
a no-no
It's a
for
no-no
me.
for you.
Yeah,
for you, but
before
not for everybody.
it's okay.
Going back to culture and tribe, we have a saying that says the son of a king doesn't sleep outside.
That's it.
Simple.
The son of the king doesn't sleep outside.
You
He
see, it's
sleeps
always
inside the
particular.
palace.
Yeah, it's always. You see, this is what I'm saying. Especially in homes that they have female kids.
Yeah.
That's when they start to drag for. You know, there's some men who don't take kids. Then when the wife now has only female kids,
Then
or
he
or
owns
the
up.
wife does not have any kids at all, that's when he starts dragging and says, you know, the king, a king's child does not
doesn't-
sleep outside.
You know, for me, I find
And
it
it's
really
very
hard
sad.
to understand the son of a king doesn't sleep outside. Maybe because I'm from northern Nigeria, because it's not something that is common.
Yeah.
If you do have a child out of wedlock, to bring him into
It's
the
a
home,
no-no for the North.
It's not
You're a
it's
bastard.
inconceivable.
It's not-
Yes,
oh,
it's
Yeah, you're a bastard.
inconceivable.
That's
Okay.
it.
In fact,
You're a
it's so
bastard.
shameful. You know, they
Yeah.
hide things like
You
that.
don't-
So,
That's-
Judy, let me ask this. You know, what about those who, under the harem, like their concubines, right? They end up becoming concubines
That's for kings.
for
That's
kings.
for
Yeah,
kings.
they end up becoming
They are
concubines.
regarded as children.
They are
The
regarded as
concubines-
children, right?
Yes.
Whether rightly or wrongly,
Yeah.
the king is allowed to have concubines. So
Now,
he is.
It's the exception to the rule. That's one.
No,
Two.
Islamiically, there
No.
are no exceptions.
Okay,
but
no.
our culture.
Okay,
And do you know the funny thing I know? And that's why if you look at the percentage in Nigeria, the northern woman, most of the time, doesn't have kids outside wedlock.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking about the kids, not about their selfish
Okay.
interests.
We're out of time.
Okay.
You've been watching Conversations. Our topic today, extramarital affairs. And I'm sure the producers are going to be like, you know, we need to talk about this even again from a separate angle. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Joy, Kevin Fineface,
Pleasure.
Coach Didi. It's been awesome talking with all of you on the topic, and see you again.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.